Back in the shop this morning. I already took care of a few things off camera. Went ahead and pulled the motor. And let me switch this camera around. So went ahead and pulled out the used S10 wiper motor. You can see the size difference. It's also quite a bit thinner. So that'll give us the clearance. I did kind of test fit this in before pulling the motor out this morning. I'm going to have to, in order to get this to sit right in here, I've already made some marks, but I'm going to have to cut this a little bit. This is not actually the firewall. This is just kind of a drain tray, which I don't drive this in the rain, so it won't matter anyway. But in order to get it to sit flush here, I need to notch this out and cut that. After some looking on the internet last night, I found that the edges of these crank bolts need to be ground down a little bit to make them fit. So I went ahead and took care of that this morning, and now it fits nice and easy in the ATI Super Damper. So that's ready to go on. So we'll get that stuck on and probably start looking at the accessory drive. Go ahead and notch that out, and we'll see where we go from there. Let me show you what I've got going on here. First, I had to take a file and ream this hole out just a little bit because it's a dual ball setup. The S10 only has a single ball, so have to reuse this, and this had to be blown out just a little bit to fit in the new wiper motor. So that'll fit in there now. And then the bigger issue is that these holes that I thought lined up are off by just a bit. They're pretty close, but they are off maybe 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch. But the bigger issue is that when I get them pretty close, it is not centered in this hole. And that is going to be important to getting these wipers to operate properly, I think. So what I'm going to do is cut out this whole section down to these flat surfaces here and the flat surface here, and then fabricate a plate that will probably pull because the shaft for that S10 wiper motor sits right up against the edge of this hole. So I need to pull it probably about 1 inch to the driver's side. So I'll make a plate with a hole that's in the proper spot for the wiper motor and properly spaced mounting holes. So that's what we'll do next. Okay, let me catch you up on the last few hours of work. I got a bracket made up, and I have the motor pinned out and wired in. So I'm only running the regular wipers at regular speed. I just need them to pass inspection, so I'm not worried about intermittent. So these two are just taped off, they're not used, and then there's 3 wires. If you happen to be using this the same motor, you got a yellow, black is your ground, yellow is constant power, and then this, I think it's brown, I don't know, I'm colorblind, but that is the steady speed. So you run the yellow to ignition on, that way it always has power, and then when you turn the switch off, the yellow still has power, so it can go back to home position. So that's largely working. I've got to do something with this shaft on the motor. It keeps spinning on the little arm that rotates for the wipers. So it just stripped out in the middle. So JB weld might be on the menu, or I might pull it off and just weld it. I'm not sure. I think I'm probably going to try JB weld first and then go to the full weld if I need to. So, but I don't have any on hand at the moment. I need to go to the store and get some JB weld. It's not something I use super often, so that'll be for another day. Well, can't get the balancer on at the moment. This tool kit I picked up at O'Reilly for a harmonic balancer installation will not work. The threads inside of here are set so far deep that this tool is not deep enough, so I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I did go ahead and throw the injectors in just to make sure those holes were covered. Gonna have to get the new line here. This thing is bent in a shape that's not anywhere, doesn't even get close to where it should hook up there at the high pressure fuel pump, so have to get a new line there. I took this off the stand for a second and threw this flywheel on. That's an aluminum ram clutches flywheel, and threw this tool in here to keep it from turning, so when I do get the proper tool I can go ahead and throw that balancer in, but I'm a little bit of a standstill until I can get that in, because until I have the balancer on and I can measure from the front of the block for pulleys, I can't really do much with the accessory drive on the front. So, and if you'll recall, I am going to run an electric water pump, so there won't be a water pump on the front. It'll be just an alternator and a power steering pump. So, still got a little bit of time left tonight, so I think I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing in. This is just a cheap thing. It's actually pretty good quality, it seems like. I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace, Catch Can, Misfire Motorsports. I don't really know much about them, but it was cheap on Facebook Marketplace. It's got the fittings. Inside it looks pretty baffled, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here probably, and then it'll be ready for the motor, one from each valve cover, and that might be about it. That's going to finish up this video. I've got some of the things, the tools I need on order, and so it's going to be a few days before those get here. So we're going to wrap this video up and move on to some other things. So in the next video we might be covering a couple things other than the engine. Thanks for watching.